Welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorial I will be demonstrating one method for creating a base mesh. We'll be doing a male base mesh, and you can use this base mesh for sculpting. You can either stay in Blender and do your sculpting there, or export it out and sculpt in your preferred sculpting application, Sculptor, ZBrush, Mudbox, or whatever you use for sculpting. Okay, the first thing we need to do is set up our reference image, and can let's set up our background images. And I have the end panel open here, and we're just going to put a checkbox in there and add image, and let's set this first one to front view, and then we'll click open and navigate to our file, and we'll be using the athletic male reference image from the blueprints.com. If you cannot see the thumbnail of your image, you can always go right up here and click that and switch to a thumbnail view. And let's go ahead and select our front JPEG here, and then let's add our second image, and we're going to set that to the right view, and then navigate to our image and choose the side view, and then we can go ahead and hide the collapse that. Now we will be using the default cube, and I'll be recording this at several different times because I just don't think I have time to get it all done in this one, and then I'll just merge all the video together or splice it together. So if I get a little lost sometimes, please forgive me. I'll try to not contradict anything I say. And so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go over into edit mode, and let's go to the front view. Now that we're in orthographic view, we can see our images. You can see that I'm using the pie menu setup, and you can download this add-on. It's awesome add-on. I use it all the time. It's part of my workflow. Okay, let's go to Wireframe, and let's just drag our cube up here. Now let's kind of center that up, so the center is pretty much in the middle of the nose here. And then I'm going to use my W key, and I'm going to subdivide smooth, and then let's just scale that down. I should use the mirror modifier, but we're not going to just yet. So also down here on our toolbar, right now we have in our widget set to the transform. Most of the time I like to have it set to transform and scale, so I'm just going to hold my shift key and I'm going to click on the scale also, and scale it that direction, and then we'll scale it here. We're just gonna kind of get it lined up just a little bit, and then let's go over into the right view and see if we're lined up there. Maybe need to scale it in a little bit on the y-axis, and let's go ahead and switch over to let's see here. switch over into select vertices and just start to move those into place. They don't have to be perfectly in place, just kind of begin to start tweaking. Those into, let's see here, let's drag this up a bit here, and let's switch back to our front. Maybe scale those in just a little bit more, and maybe these. Let's see here, remember, if you're not using the mirror modifier, you'll have to make sure that you select both sides. Okay, let's go ahead and add a loop cut, one right here, and let's scale that out into position, and then go to our right view and line it up over here too. It's a good idea to switch back each time you make a loop cut, to switch back and forth and line it up in each view. Let's create another cut right here, and maybe pull that forward a little bit and scale it out. Let's see here, let's make 2 more cuts. Let's put one here. Go ahead and start to line that up a little bit. Just kind of lining that up with the bottom of the jaw here. Maybe rotate that a little bit. Drag these vertices down. And there is no absolute method for doing this. There's no right or wrong way. Just make sure you have some decent topology and line it up the best you can with your image. And because we for sculpting, after we are done sculpting, we most generally will retopo or retopologize. So I'm just going to begin to work and narrate just a little bit as we go. Let's go back to solid view and see what we've got here. And that's a pretty decent start. So, and you may have to, as you go along, go in and add more loop cuts, and we're going to go ahead and add a couple more. And do remember that after you add geometry or a loop cut, make sure you go line your geometry back up in each view. Just kind of switching back and forth. So far that looks good. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and switch back to the solid view. Let's see. Let's grab these vertices right here, and let's do this on both sides. Maybe pull those out a bit, line it up a little bit better. Maybe grab these two, pull them down just slightly. Pull this one down slightly. And let's grab this loop here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scale in the z-axis, and what I'm going to do is just grab my little scale thing here and just drag towards the center of the widget several times, and it will flatten that out. And let's go see where we're at in the right view. Make sure we're still lined up here. It's still good enough. Let's go ahead and grab these. Like I say, I haven't rehearsed this. I just wanted to kind of show you how I like to build a base mesh. Okay, I'm gonna go here and I want to select some faces behind this jawline here. No, I think we'll select these faces from probably about here back. So let's go to solid, switch to faces, and grab these faces here. Let's go back to our right view and let's extrude those down. One thing that I like to do too also is I'm going to tap my W key and go to loop tools and use the circle on that. You kind of make it a circle shape. And then we can go in back in here, go to wireframe. Well, let's flatten that out. You can also use loop tools to flatten that out, but I'm not going to do that this time. And go back to right view, see where we're at here. Scale it. Let's see, let's drag it down. We may need to rotate that. Yeah, let's go ahead and rotate it so it lines up there. Let's go back to the vertices and let's just grab these vertices and maybe line those up a little bit better. And that's looking pretty good, or good enough anyway. Let's see if we cannot go ahead and maybe line these up just a tad bit better. The thing about doing this character modeling period is tweaking your vertices and just continuing to tweak those and line them up as you go after you make an extrude or add an edge loop or whatever. Okay, that's good enough. Let's go ahead and let's grab these bottom faces here. I'm going to tap my C key to go into circle selection, select these faces, just hit my X and delete faces. Let's go back to vertex selection and I'm going to hold my Alt key and click there to make a loop selection, and let's see where we're at here. Begin to line this neck up a little bit better. It looks pretty good. So usually another method for doing this is creating your torso and your legs and so on, each separate, and then connecting them all. And but the method I like to use, which to me is a little easier is I like to just start with the head and just extrude down and create my body and everything. You'll see what I mean here in just a second. So now let's go ahead and go back to the front view, and let's just go ahead and extrude that down, and let's just extrude it down to about here. And I'm going to go ahead and scale out. On some of these reference images, the right and left side are not going to be exactly set up or symmetrical, so I usually just line it up on one side or the other, and we'll be making sure that it lines up in the positive x-axis. Okay, let's go back to the right view and line this side up also. And I know that in this video I will make a few mistakes. Let's flatten this out, so just bear with me. Don't call me stupid just because I make a mistake. Yeah, and there are plenty of people out there that have done this a lot more than I have, and are a lot better at it than I am. Okay, let's add some loop cuts in here. Let's add about 3 for now, and let's go ahead and go back to the wireframe, and let's begin to line these loop cuts up. I'm not displaying the hotkeys using the screencast keys because I have a whole lot of basically I have my hotkeys set up the way I like to work, so it would be kind of confusing for you if I displayed those hotkeys and then you went into Blender and tried to use the same ones that I am, and they didn't work. Pretty much a custom setup. Okay, let's see what we got here, and that's looking pretty decent. And let's maybe scale these out just a bit more. Maybe these here. And let's see, I want to add another loop cut. Probably in here somewhere. Just drag it up till it kind of lines up kind of right in here with the shoulders. And I like to put another loop cut kind of right through here, kind of in the middle. Yeah, we'll just kind of go ahead and pull that out a little bit. And at some point we want to go in here and add some more loop cuts to kind of keep our the size of our quads about the same. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's put one in here, maybe another one in here. Let's go back to wireframe and see how these are, see if they're lined up. Maybe need to scale that one out a bit. Let's go to our side view and take a look. Yeah, we need to line this one up. Basically what you want to do is on your base mesh is create your form or your silhouette of your whatever character you're building. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let's do something here on the head. Let's grab these vertices right here and pull them back just a little bit to kind of give a little bit of an indication where our eye is going to be. Just a little detail so that when we take this in and start to sculpt on it, we'll know where the eyes are supposed to be. Okay, let's go ahead back to our solid view and take a look, and then it looks alright. I think we probably want to add a loop cut in here. And anyway, that's looking good. So I'm going to stop recording right now and start back up again a little bit. I've got something I have to run do. Sorry for the interruption, but I will edit this video and kind of put it all together into one video, and maybe we'll build the hands in a separate video, but we'll continue from here when we pick back up, and we'll start to get our legs done. Okay, we are back. We will start working on the legs here in a little bit, but I want to start fixing this a little bit. Let's go back to the right view and see where we're at here. Let's go to Wireframe, and that looks good. This loop is not lined up. I could say also too, anytime that you're building a base mesh or character modeling, you want to go back and forth several times and see if your mesh is lined up with your reference. And like I've said before, though, this really, in this video, it doesn't have to be perfectly aligned, but we do want some of the or a lot of the features to be lined up with a reference image, so that when we take this into our sculpting application, we can tell where those features are supposed to be. Let's go back to solid view and kind of take a look at what we got, and that's looking pretty good. Some other tweaks that need to happen. I think probably these need to be pulled in just a bit for now, and maybe pull them back, just kind of continuously tweaking and working around our model. What I'm doing here is just kind of tweaking those vertices a little bit, giving our model a little more smoothness here. Rounded out, smooth shapes. You know what? It's definitely time to go in here and go back to Wireframe and turn on our mirror modifier so that we don't have to select both sides continuously. I'm just going to grab these vertices here, tap my X key, delete verts. I'm on Shift and Space Bar and bring up this panel here and then go to the mirror modifier. And it's in the X-axis, and we'll turn on clipping. Close that back up. Also, to show and hide that, you can use the Control and Up key, Space and Shift, and I believe those are the default hotkeys. If they're not, I've just told you something wrong, and I do apologize. So let's go back to Solid View and take a look at where we're at. This looks alright. Think maybe these, we need to tweak these just a bit. Maybe bring this one out. This one in. Anyway, the mirror modifier, turn that on. You can see when I grab this side also moves. Our mirror is not lined up. We have an overlap there. So make sure you have that clipping turned on. Let's see if I can go in here. What we've got there is our center wasn't lined up like it was supposed to be. So I just grabbed that edge loop and gave it a pull. Yeah, we're lined up now. If you want to see the wire on the other side, you can toggle this little icon right here to see both sides. Sometimes I work with it on, sometimes I don't. Anyway, this guy's looking decent for a base mesh anyway. Okay, we're good on the side. Let's take a look at the front. Let's maybe line these up just a little bit better. Okay. Maybe, and also I definitely think we want to line up the top of the head better. So let's grab all these vertices here on top and maybe smooth vertex once and then pull it up. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Grab these. Now grab these and bring them out and down just a little bit maybe. And then grab all these on top, maybe bring it up just a little bit. Let's see what we look like in the right view. It looks still fairly decent there. I want to bring these down and back, just kind of a little tweaking as you go along. Good enough. And if you were not happy with it, then you can always go back in there and tweak. But for this video. I'm just not going to do it right now. And some of this tweaking that's going on, like pulling some of these little verts around the head, I could just go ahead and go over into sculpt mode and just bring my brush size down and just pull those around that way. Continuously tweaking. I think these need to come out some more. Head looking a little flat. And as you rotate around your model, you will begin to see what you need to do. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna have to pause the video and then be right back. Okay, let's go ahead and get started again. I know in the video it doesn't seem like I was gone, but I'm picking this back up a couple hours later. Okay, now we will need to go back in and do some tweaking on pushing and pulling some of these verts, but let's go right now to the front view and get ready to start these legs. So I'm going to alt click at this edge loop right here, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude that down to probably about there, the bottom of this crotch area. And I like to, whenever I extrude out like that, those vertices, I don't think they're evenly distributed the way I like them to, so I usually hit smooth vertex a couple of times, and then I'll go in here and grab my scale in the Z direction and pull it down a few times to kind of flatten that back out. Now let's go see where we're at in the right view, and we'll need to pull that back, scale it in the Y direction, and that's probably good enough. Let's go to wireframe, and I think we probably need to pull this back just a little bit. Yep, that will work. Let's go back to our front view. Well, there we go. Okay, go ahead and pull this back down again and scale it out. And we will have to go back in and create a couple more edge loops in there, but we're not going to do that yet. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the edge selection, and I'm going to grab this front edge right here, and then I'm going to grab the corresponding edge around the back, and then I'm going to use the hotkey F to create a polygon right there through the middle, or I could have used my loop tools to do a bridge. So now what I want to do is put a loop cut right there, and I'm going to switch to vert mode, and I'm going to grab this little vertex and I'm just going to drag it in a bit there, and what you can see here is this this edge loop right here is becoming our leg. So let's go to the front view. let's go back here and let's select that vertice right there. Go back to the front view, Z key, wireframe, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that vertice I just selected over here to the inside of the leg right here. Then we'll just alt click right there on this edge loop here, tap my W key and go to loop tools and then circle. I'm going to go back to the solid view, and I think we need to rotate that just a little bit to kind of even those down a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Let's go back to the front view and select this edge loop. Make sure that's selected. And go back to wireframe. Gonna pull that in a bit, line it up. It lines up pretty good. I don't even think we need to scale it. We may need to scale it just a little bit on the X. And now let's go to the right view, side view, and bring that forward. Now you've got some other vertices here that are these middle vertices, and just try to make sure that you don't pay any attention to them when you're scaling this leg, because we will go back in and take care of those here in a little bit. So what I did was scale that a little bit in the Y direction. Okay, now let's go back to the front view. Let's see where we're at, and that looks good. So I'm going to alt click and select that edge loop again, and I'm going to extrude that down to just about the ankle. And if you noticed when I started extruding, if you noticed my cursor went all the way down and back through, that's the continuous grab feature, and that can be turned on in the preferences. So we're just going to scale this in the X direction, and then we'll go to the side view and scale that in the Y direction. We're going to move it back, scale it in the Y. Maybe move it up a little bit. Let's go back to our front view, go back to solid, and see what we've got here. Yeah, it's not looking too bad. So let's go ahead and grab this vert here and pull it in a bit to a look around front. We'll just kind of leave that one where it is for now, and then this one I think I'm going to just go ahead and pull that up kind of even right there, and then I'm going to you can either control R to add some edge. Well, I think I'll go ahead and do that. So I did control R to loop cut and slide, and then I'm going to take my middle mouse button and I'm going to scroll up 1, and that'll increase the number of slices you have, and then I'm going to click to validate that. Now let's take a look at this. And with this this vert right here kind of is going in, so instead of pulling that out, what I like to do is just grab that edge loop, and then I'm going to use my smooth vertex a little bit there and and grab this one and do the same thing. And then we'll go to Wireframe and the side view. And we'll go ahead and scale this. We'll grab this edge loop here and do the same thing, and then we'll have to make sure that we go in to the front view and scale that and line it up also. I will probably go ahead and finish these legs and do the feet, and then may do the arms and hands in a different video. I'm not sure yet. Okay, we've got all those lined up, and just remember to work your way around and just continuously line up your vertices to your reference image. Okay, we're going to put 3 slices in here, 3 edge loops. Now let's go ahead and go in here and start to scale those. We'll get them all in the front view first, and then we'll go to the side view and get those. Sorry if I'm going too fast. You can leave a comment and let me know if I was going too fast, or if there's something you want to know. If I can answer it, I'll sure give it a try. Okay, let's go to the our side view now, and gonna grab some of these. Let's see, we don't want to do that one yet. Let's go back here and grab this one and go ahead and get that scaled and lined up to our image. And we'll need to go back in here and add some more edge loops in between each one of those to get it to fit to our reference a little bit better. And now there's not really a written in stone proper method for creating a base mesh. This technique that I'm showing you is just kind of a hodgepodge of different ways that I've done it and tried, and this for me works best. You may prefer a different method. Matter of fact, I think there's another way that I'll probably do a video on and show you that's probably a little more beginner level and probably a little easier. And but the main thing is, as long as you learn something, when I record these videos, I'm always learning, and I've picked up these techniques from a lot of different people. A lot of people out there using Blender and just modeling in general that are most certainly a lot better than I am at it. Let's go ahead and rotate this around and try to maybe make this line up a little bit better. I really don't want to add another edge loop right there, but I may have to. Let's take a look and see what we've got. I really don't like that so I'm going to go ahead and straighten it up. Let's see what we've got now. That doesn't look too bad. So we've got our head. roughed out, and our torso and our abs and our our legs. And that's what it looks like so far. So I think what we'll do now, let's go ahead and do a little bit of tweaking here. Let's go ahead and grab some of these. You may need to, I'm not going to go check that against the reference right now. I just want to just tweak a little bit and begin to define some of these areas a little bit better. They don't have to be perfect. And it's always helpful to kind of figure out which way the muscles flow, and kind of line up your edge loops to the way the muscles are flowing, and you can't always get it just right, but it always helps to get it to where it's fairly close to your reference image, and that way you have your areas that when you head over into your sculpting application, that you have those areas defined so you know where they're at. Let's take a look at the head and maybe tweak that a little bit. Looks decent. Here's, need to some of these need to be pulled out a little bit, I think. Always rotating around your model and tweaking to make sure that you're defining those shapes that you really are going to need. And this necessarily, I've probably said this already, but this is not necessarily going to to be this particular character. This is, like I said, just a base mesh, that can be tweaked and changed for a whole lot of different characters. Okay, let's get ready to go ahead and start our feet. So what I've done here is I've selected this edge loop down here, and I'm just going to go ahead and extrude this down. And especially here on these feet, the way they're shaped in this reference image, we don't really want to line them up too much with the reference there. We'll just use it just a little bit as a guide. So now let's grab some faces. I think we'll just grab those front two faces there and go over into our right view, and let's just extrude those out. And now we can Go back to our vert selection, and let's C key and turn on wireframe, and I'm just basically blocking out these feet. I will do a video, I guess, later on actually modeling the toes and everything, but not this time. I'll just see here. So grab these and pull them down just a bit. Let's take a look at what we have. And this is what we've got so far. It's a very simplified, very basic foot. You probably, if you're just doing a model that your character is going to have shoes on or boots or whatever, then this is really the way to go, is just kind of model in just a kind of a boxy foot. Let's go back to the wireframe and let's just grab these and pull them back. And all this is absolutely a matter of just tweaking and tweaking a lot. Let's see what we've got here. Probably want to pull those in. Go in here and let's see. Pull that down. Maybe you want to use the edge slide method. Kind of slide those up a bit and then pull them out kind of around that foot just a little bit. Continuously grabbing your vertices and rounding out your shape. Let's go ahead and grab these and use the edge slide a little bit here. There's a lot of the things that you do when you're creating a model like this. You may go move a vert and you may end up going back and moving it again several times. Wow, he's kind of pigeon-toed there. His feet are not the way they should be, so we'll have to go in and fix that. Let's maybe smooth those vertex a little bit there. Select this edge loop, and now I'm going to hold my let's see, let's go to edges, select this edge loop, and then I'm going to deselect this one, and this one, and this one, and then I'm going to push my F key to close that up. I'll add a loop cut. Well, let's see. Nope, not working for some reason. Pardon me, that was completely unexpected. Let's just use our knife tool. I'm going to hit the K and cut an edge in right there. And then we'll go to vertex mode. I'm just going to grab this vertice. I'm going to turn on vertex snapping. I'm just going to grab this edge of or point with my G key and hold Control, snap it to there, grab, Control, snap to here, and then what you want to do is tap your A key and then use remove doubles, and that should have welded those verts together. And let's fix those pigeon toes. Okay, let's go to Wireframe, select all these vertices here, activate our rotate tool and just kind of rotate them around. Z key, go solid, and let's look and see if that's better. Yeah, that's good enough. I think we should add another edge loop right here. Go back to our front view, and I'll tell you what, let's line these feet up a little bit better. That probably will help a lot. And then grab that edge right there. Let's flatten it out. Go to our side view, scale it, and we've got an edge loop right here we need to fix. I believe I forgot to go in there and fix those earlier. That's good enough there. Let's go fix this one. Scale in the Y direction. Okay, I think that will about do it for this portion of the video. And in the next one, what we'll do is we'll pick up and we'll start maybe tweak these feet a little bit and start working on the arms, and then after that we'll go in and collapse our mirror modifier and go into sculpt mode and begin to tweak this shape a little bit to something a little more defined. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. So we'll pick this tutorial up in the next one.